presentation. What percentage of black people are currently investing in crypto in some form? What percentage, we can do a range within 5 points. What percentage of black folks currently have at least one investment in crypto? Over here. 1 to 5%, that's one answer.
7%.
10% over here. Feel free to yell it out. I'm ready to do it. 15%. 25, 30, 23% is the national average of black folks that are investing in crypto, which I believe is actually an over-index. We got to be a little careful with that. You're not allowing your business to grow. You have to part with equity in your business for your business to grow. We cool with that? As a fact? Right on. What's better than one billionaire? So, I said a little bit about myself earlier. This is a good transition to talk a little bit about equity and what we do with private equity, with a focus on creating generational wealth. I'm a managing director, managing partner of a firm called Partners in Equity. It's real. We invest equity, cash, into black businesses for them to go from renting to owning their commercial real estate. Outside of the very rare entrepreneurs that make it to like multi-millions, how is wealth created in America? How is generational wealth created in America? Through real estate ownership. The lion's share of ownership in the black community happens in what part of the real estate market? 2040. What happens in the year 2040 when it comes down to the populations of America?
Population control? So no. Thanks, this is terrible.
Who's that? The browning of America. Yeah. In the year 2040, based on all the expert tables, the quote-unquote minority populations will be the majority population. What year is this? 2022, so in 18 years. More than 51% of black and brown people will be the majority of people in America. Now, what would you do if you were on the other side of this?
No wonder they want to kill us.
You would be trying to get as many
forced vaccinations. Like, no.
Part of the conversation we had earlier about real estate and why the prices are high and there's not a lot of inventory is that some folks understand that statistic. What are they doing? They're covering resources. They're buying property at a higher rate than we are. What are we going to do? Catch up and buy property as well. Another statistic. I'll play this video. The year 2053. What happens in the year 2053?
Crisis. A commercial displacement crisis that has and continues to separate low-wealth businesses, especially black and brown owners, from their properties at an unprecedented rate. Small businesses in transitioning neighborhoods of Charlotte, Atlanta, DC, and other southern cities face many of the same gentrifying pressures as residents. Real estate is the primary vehicle for wealth accumulation in the U.S., and the subsector of commercial real estate provides leverage and creates wealth as fast as any domestic asset class in history. To help deals along, friends and family invest over $60 billion annually into commercial real estate transactions, often helping the entrepreneurs they know best meet that essential 20% equity hurdle to get deals over the finish line. However, the racial wealth gap means that significantly less net worth is circulating within the wealth networks of black and brown entrepreneurs, making friends and family capital sparse to non-existent. This leaves entrepreneurs of color largely locked out of the commercial property game. This is a financial justice innovation designed to overcome the structural barriers faced by entrepreneurs of color as a result of the racial wealth gap. In the case of Kenya T, after negotiating a deal of a lifetime, she nearly missed the opportunity to purchase a $1 million office park for $400,000, only because she didn't have the equity on hand to make a down payment. With an investment from Pi, her NC-based health and human services company now owns their corporate home. She created generational wealth for herself and her family, and she's now set her sights on developing the entire property to benefit her clients and her community more broadly. If you're an impact-oriented investor that is serious about closing the wealth gap, there's an entire segment of Main Street entrepreneurs that require the trusting handshake of equity to fully actualize their commercial genius through participation in the domestic commercial real estate market. This is essential equity. Build with us.
So apparently this place is cooler than I thought. Look, they got a guitarist in here. I thought that was like a karaoke I saw them setting up.
built. Another interesting thing right now in Baltimore is coming out of COVID, the federal government gave cities all across this country something called American Rescue Plan money. Baltimore City received $641 million. And what I've constantly pushed on the administration is, let's not sprinkle this money to this program, this organization, this area, because when you look up in 3, 5, 7 years, that money's dissipated, it's gone, and there is no real impact. Let's focus on 1 or 2 areas where we have generational change, and we can look at the return on investment of this money that we get once in a lifetime. I think housing is where it is, and doing it responsibly as it relates to the folks that, again, are dealing with the crime, and the disproportionate amount of disinvestment from the city. So that's what this program is built off of and based off of, and that's what we've been pushing the administration to put money into.
They say Baltimore the next Black Wall Street.
Right? So water to our east, to our west. You're talking about 45 minutes away from the nation's capital. You're talking about 3 hours from the Big Apple. You got the hospitals, best hospitals in the world right here, University of Maryland and Hopkins. You talk about the culture, you talk about the history, you talk about the institution. There's just so much that's built into the city that we can expand from and grow off of, and it will grow. It's just who's going to be participating, who's going to be at the table. So that's why it's so important at this point to start driving at, like, Baltimore City is that city where we can look up in 10 or 15 years, and it's literally the Atlanta of the East Coast. And when I say the Atlanta of the East Coast, I think, out of the top 20 African-American owned businesses at the time, I believe like 8 was based in Atlanta. That could be Baltimore City for the East Coast, and it should be. And the opportunity is here. Shout out to Sharif right here, who owns a couple of businesses, is a huge supporter.
What's up, Sharif? Come on, say that, come on, Sharif!
White folks from the county into downtown faster.
Wow.
So it's right in the heart of that community. But again, when we talk about opportunity and around America, there is no better place than Baltimore City. Don't allow the headlines, don't allow the wire, don't allow all that stuff to fool you. We talk about real estate, we talk about businesses, we talk about growth. Baltimore City is something that should be on your radar and you should be focused on. Which is interesting. The 2 only Black jurisdictions in the state of Maryland are completely as far apart as possible.
Exactly, because BG County is the richest county in the nation.
It's the symbolization of who we are as a people.
That's crazy. Nigerians be racist towards Americans, period. You ask me.
So expensive. When we have a 1.something million or 500-something million for 1 bedroom, it's not looking at stuff that I can afford, but I'm scared to actually go into those areas. So what would you have to say to people that are kind of scared to kind of take that step and actually go to those areas that may look like, maybe you don't want to invest here or not?
I mean, at the end of the day, the nature of real estate is risky, right? So you can't take away that risk. Obviously, the biggest thing is just really doing your homework. Connecting with folks that have boots on the ground, that have had successful track records of doing it. Because there are many folks that look like you and I that are here in Baltimore City that's doing it in a major way. So I would say do your research, try to connect with someone who's had success in the past, and real estate is risky, so that's just kind of part of the
We have a question right here.
legislative process. But it's important to connect with like the community organizations. We've had over 8 council hearings on this already. I've had 4 town hall meetings on this. I'm constantly talking about it. It's receiving a lot of attention. But the bigger thing about this is the eligibility requirements.
Right.
That's ensuring that only folks that it's intended for will have access to participate in the program.
Next question.
Hello, my name is Christine. I'm from
Man, listen.
I live in DMV area now. I love to invest in real estate, and I'm realizing one really big issue is the taxes. Like when I lived in DC, it was 0.85% for every $100. I just looked up, it's $2.25 for $100 in Baltimore City. I 100% know that people have
People in the 1950s, we're under 600,000 today. We talk about
2.25.
16,000 vacant aren't really contributing as it relates to the revenue associated. So again, we're shaping up all these different variables to an equation that does not really work out. That's why when we talk about, again, opportunity and access and bringing folks back to the city, it's going to happen. Right? The property values will continue to increase, but more importantly, with that, the rates are going to come down. We actually working on the council, working on a bill right now to address that. Another major issue that makes Baltimore City different than a place like DC, there's two tax things that makes Baltimore City different than DC. One, the state of Maryland doesn't allow and that only aids and helps the speculators. Because look, if you come and you buy property for $8,000 or $10,000, right, and you sit on that property, you're paying 2.248 on that property. So it's people that sit on properties that's paying $300 or $400 a year in property taxes, right? Speculating on it, that's a write-off, it's an expense. So it's only aiding that market. We go down to Annapolis every single year and try to fight to change that, but that has not been successful. So there's other creative ways that we're working on to try to lower the property tax. The other difference thing between Baltimore City and other places, the interesting thing about Baltimore City is something called a homestead tax credit. So if you are a property owner in the city of Baltimore, and you know places like gentrification, how to displace folks because they can't simply afford the taxes. The taxes are going from maybe a couple $100 a month to a couple $1,000 a month because of in Baltimore City.
So you only pay 4% of the increase in your property taxes.
Again, in this market where we know that value
and it's reevaluated every 3 years.
For folks to purchase and live in the city.
Hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a Park Heights City resident, born and raised. I purchased a home in the Park Heights area that I'm from about 4 years ago, and I'm also the enrollment coordinator for Creative City Public Charter School. So I'm the enrollment coordinator, I do their marketing, and I also do special programs. Here you talk about the dollar homes opportunity, you kind of almost answer your question. I think that if you could actually come and talk to families about this program, because they're already semi-invested in the community because they send their children there. I guess my ask is the enrollment coordinator. I'm trying to find families, and a part of the issue that we have with people.
They get involved and help move certain types of business here.
Oh man, the mic went out.
For us, specifically this community represented here today, so that way we can move that kind of money into Baltimore and be a part of the economic growth.
So there aren't any specific programs, like scattered site investors or developers. Clearly, people put deals together all the time and present them to the city and might need help or support, from the city to get that goes out. So it's not a specific program. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis. Regarding us coming together, I just think it's symbolic of like the history, plight, failures of our community, and us working and connecting together. Earlier I talked about the whole divide between Baltimore City and Prince George's County, which has always been astonishing to me. But it's really just
that's right.
You're
gotta save ourselves.
It doesn't stop as soon as you go in and vote. It's about holding people that look like me accountable in the positions that we're in, to ensure that we're thinking about these things, to ensure that legislation is speaking to these issues. It's a myriad of different things, but I think it's just symbolic about, what we're going to be as a people and where we're going to be at over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And if it doesn't change, shame on us. Shame on everybody in this room. If you think about the collective power that's in this room alone, and what this room could do as it relates to going after the racial wealth gap, finding real estate, ensuring that black businesses are on a different trajectory. So it starts with us.
Let's give it up for City Council President. Thank you so much.
Get money to represent me. Nobody wanted to be on his team because he was getting no questions right in the verses.
Y'all didn't know what the game was about. The game was about giving me money. Everybody give me $20. Yeah, I'm joking. We're gonna do another music game, right? It's
I
a versus
should have
battle.
joined
One more versus battle for more tickets. And what are the prizes? The
last one was fun.
US